Hi, I'm Johnny from CCR. Over the last few months, we've been building an AI agent that works construction claims, Project Investigator. In the next few minutes, you'll watch it take 3 questions on a real live claim. No rehearsal and no file list handed to it. Everything you see is the actual run. We've released a few videos explaining the tools we build. This one is different. This is a case study. We're going to prompt the CCR investigator on a live claim 3 times and show you exactly what happens behind the scenes to produce each answer. The whole point of the system is that you shouldn't have to know where the evidence lives before you're allowed to ask for it. So one sentence goes in, behind it the agent walks the database, opens the claim page, opens the workbook sitting behind it, and comes back citing the row it read. And it has to do that across more than 3,000 documents on this one project. That is the reason the walk matters. At that size, nobody can tell you upfront which file the answer is sitting in. A question can only be answered against documents the system has already read, so before anything is asked, every document gets ingested, read where it sits, originals never touched. What comes out is 1 page per document, with parties, events, and claims linked on top. And underneath it, more than 200,000 searchable chunks, so a question can find its way to the right page without anyone browsing for it. But the index never gets to be the answer. It points at a file and a line, and that file has to be opened and read before anything is quoted. Spreadsheets get opened for real and answered in rows that cite themselves. All 3 questions that follow are asked against one real, live matter, a contractor's claim for extension of time and cost. Everything so far has been set up. The documents are in and they're organized. We didn't prepare for any of them. Each one is asked and answered on camera. It works each one the way a good claims analyst would. The difference is that it decides which tool to reach for, which documents are worth opening, when to stop and ask you something back. Nobody hands it a file list. Here's the first question. Collate the evidence for claim EOT 173. No filters, no file picker. It reads its own operating rules first, then walks the database to the one claim page that matters. Then it opens the workbook behind the claim, because that is where the number is actually built, not the summary on the letter, the build-up underneath it. The contract cited down to the page number. Schedule 1.5, clause 1.2, page 274. 4 valves listed there as the client supply, due on the 20th of April 2025, a year before the event. Then criticality checked against the native program file, not a printout of it. The delay event sits on the critical path, the only one of its kind there. Then the notice trail, the part the contract makes a precondition to the claim, 7 dated steps out of 7 separate letters, and no response from the other side anywhere on the record. A fresh session and a harder question. The other side has never answered this claim, but in June they refused 2 others outright. So find those refusals and test this claim against them. Nothing can be compared until all 3 claims are open, so that is where it starts, the 2 that were refused and the one that wasn't. The claim pages name the refusals but never quote them, so it goes after the letters themselves. 10 steps in, it has both of them open. To reuse an argument, you first have to see its shape, so it lays the 2 refusals side by side. 8 numbered grounds, 1 letter to a column. 6 grounds out of 8 run word for word against 2 different claims. That is not a response to a claim. That is a template, and a template can be pointed at anything next. Which makes the only question that matters what happens when it is pointed at us. So it grades our own unanswered claim against all 8. One is worse than the rest and worth knowing first. The claim states its own delay 3 different ways, on the letters, in the register, and in the build-up for a single event. The point was never the 2 letters. It was the fix list before the 3rd one arrives. 4 grounds exposed today, 2 more curable by pleading a contract clause nobody has pleaded yet. 2 minutes and 22 seconds spent arguing against its own client. The 3rd question, find every revision of the supply registers across the workbooks, merge them, and trace the 4 valves through. It finds 3 register families where the question assumed 1. Then it opens the originals. The staged text can't prove a row absent, so it has to be the real file. Sheets first, then the rows underneath. 12 revisions merged into a single register. so one row can be followed across every copy of it. Every one of them says the same thing about the 4 valves not installed, client supply not handed over, and one date that never moves, the 5th of February, frozen across every single copy. Only one document in the whole trace was written by the other side. On the 10th of February, they promise handover by the 15th of March. 8 weekly revisions run past that date and not one row changes. You've just watched 3 questions get answered. It looks like one thing doing all of it. It isn't. Getting the documents in is a 6-phase workflow on its own because nothing can be cited until it has been read, classified, and reconciled against everything else. Scout, pass, register, synthesize, reconcile, finalize, each phase doing a different job and working through many documents at the same time. And when you ask a question, the agent isn't guessing. It's picking between purpose-built scripts, one to query a workbook, one to search the index by meaning, one to ask whether a document was ever ingested at all. A register, an invoice, a progress claim, and a monthly report each carry their own terminology, their own structure, their own commercial meaning. A generic tool can read every field in them and still not know which one matters. So that judgment gets written down as rules the agent runs. Which class of document is passed in full, and which becomes one citable row, that a transmittal and its attachments are one piece of evidence. The money is in the attached workbook, not the letter that carried it. That a missing month in a series is itself a finding, because in a claim, the gap is the argument, and that 2 documents disagreeing is something to record, not something to quietly resolve. That's construction knowledge written down as functions an agent can run. It's the part you can't download. Project Investigator, built at CCR.